All right, Sharks, we're going to talk a defensive strategy. We're going to talk about defending in the middle of the field. So the middle of the field would be naturally the middle of the field, but it's also between, we would have a 10-meter line 10 meters back from the midline field. So the middle of the field is actually defending between the 10 and the 10. And what we want to do here, it's a little different than when we're defending back behind our 20, because when we're defending back behind our 20, as we talked about in the defensive video for that, is that we're doing more of an aggressive blitz there. We want to get ball handling errors so that we can get the ball back and then get the heck out of there. Now in here we have a little bit of a leeway, because we have more space behind us. We're not as much pressure. We're not being threatened so much. So we can change our tactics a little bit. So our defensive line now goes from an aggressive blitz back to our standard shift or drift. So what we have here at this ruck, we're blue over here in offense, and we have our ruck, we have our posts, and our monster, and our guard, and our line adjusters, and then our rest of our defenders filling in here. We have our wings and our fullback, and then we have a floater back here to just cover the action. And the floater's job is basically he's looking for any gaps that might occur, so he can go in, say there's an opening over here, he can make sure he's there. He's got to be aware of the field. He has to know what's happening so he can see gaps anywhere. All right, and same thing with the fullback. The fullback's watching the action here, and as things are going on, you're going to hear the fullback, because he's got an eye of the field. He's going to be able to see where this ball's going, where gaps are, and he's going to be yelling right, left. It's real important to pay attention. That's why we need to have one strong voice back here, and naturally the floater is going to be, he'll be able to hear the fullback better, and he'll be able to communicate with you guys and call you by name, move right, move left. So the whole gist of this type of defense here is we have to maintain our line integrity. That means we come up together, evenly spaced, so we don't have a gap like that in there. We want to have everybody lined up, and then as we're moving forward, as that ball comes out of this ruck, as that scrum half, as it leaves his hand, we have to come up hard. We come up, bam, we come up like a real quick 2 to 3 meter run straight at it, and then once we're at that point coming up hard, then we're going to shift, the whole line's going to shift over, and we're going to shift with that action. And as we talk about the whole point of the shift and drift defense is that you're using the sideline as your 16th player, because you want to get that ball, when they get it out here, you want to try to have your defense crowd in on them so that you can get that player out of bounds, and then that would be a recovery from us. So it's real important in this portion of the field to maintain that line integrity and to come up together, to come up hard first, and then come up together and communicate with each other. We have to, we're shifting right. You even grab a guy by the shoulder, or and push him or pull him to take him with you. And we're always tackling. We're always tackling out this way, meaning we're looking for the tackle this way. So let's say this guy has the ball and he's running here. All right. This player's responsibility is to tackle, to cover that man and tackle him here. Now what if this player, he's running at him here and he dips the ball off to the inside? It is not this player's responsibility to tackle back, to go back inside. He has to maintain in front of him and into the outside of him. Tackling, that's this player's responsibility. All right, it's on the inside. So the guy on your inside has always got that play. Now granted, if there's a mistake there and this player isn't there to cover it, I mean, it's a mistake. It's not supposed to happen, but it's not this player's fault. All right, this player does his duty, go forward and tackle out. Now, granted, in a game situation, you know, maybe this player has something where he can see he's there and he sees this ball coming in, and maybe he's got a handle on this and he's here. There's always an exception to the rule, and the exception to the rule is awesome if that player breaks the rule and then makes a good play. That's the exception to the rule. The exception to the rule is you break the rule, you better make a good play. All right, so we want you tackling outward, not inward. The guy on your inside's got your inside. So remember that. So line integrity is really big. And then the next most important thing that we have to be concerned about is when we make our tackles, we're coming up hard, we're maintaining integrity, but we want to always tackle these guys behind their game line. Okay, we don't want them to get here where we make the tackle, even there. All right, look, I mean, even at their game line, we don't want it. All right, or an inch in front of their game line, we don't want it, because they're maintaining possession and they're going forward. We want to tackle them if their game line is here. I mean, granted, we want to make our contact and tackle back behind that. Okay, so the goal here again is line integrity. Communicate, come up hard, shift, don't tackle back. Look for the gaps, and then tackle past the gain line. Even if it's an inch or two, tackle past the gain line. Very important. Now, the other thing we have to mention is, let's say, right here, we're inside the 10 line, in between, and they're at the 50. So let's see, these guys are at their 10 line. Let's say everybody's back here at their 10 line. So we're up here naturally. I'm not going to move everybody, but what we also have to watch for, we have to anticipate any type of kicks. All right, is he going to kick? And that's important for these guys back here to make sure what's happening there as far as anticipating kicks. All right, so that's our defending in the middle of the field. Fairly simple. All right, it's basic rugby defense, and that's the way things are going to work and what we're going to do. All right, bye-bye.